welcome to Conventus 2024, the annual management conclave of the International Management Institute, New Delhi. We are delighted to have you with us as we continue with the day's discussion. My fellow host Garima Mangla and I, Tanish Taneja, shall take you through the marketing summit of Conventus 2024. This year, Conventus is structured around the theme India's $7 trillion ambition, leading the next global economic wave.
As India aims for a $7 trillion economy, this ambition is more than just an economic target. It's a vision to redefine its global influence and become a transformative force. This journey, however, is not simply about GDP numbers. It's a story of resilience where ancient wisdom converges with modern tech and street vendors go digital alongside rural entrepreneurs solving urban challenges. To make this leap, India must prioritize job creation, quality education, accessible healthcare with human capital as its driving asset. Overcoming traditional hurdles like bureaucracy and inequality will be essential, moving from quick fix jugaad to becoming an unstoppable juggernaut. True growth in its journey is about GDP, that is, growth driven by people, aiming to achieve a sustainable and inclusive future powered by grit, innovation, and the potential of a billion dreams. Before proceeding further, we would now like to play the theme video of Conventus 2024.
A nation like no other, with people of unlimited potential, is on the brink of unprecedented glory. The story of India is one of ups and downs, of navigating challenges and managing conflicts, of finding harmony amidst chaos. Now, the stage is set. India has dared to dream, a dream of becoming a $7 trillion economy.
The unstoppable force behind this long journey has been the people of the country. The next chapter in India's history will be marked by
GDP, growth driven by people. The people are the engines of our economy. The key to success for businesses is to convert their potential into purpose. When human resources are empowered and engaged, real value is unlocked and dreams are turned into reality.
It's time to explore the best practices of the businesses that have made a mark by being of the people, for the people, by the people. So, let us be all ears for their stories and ideas and learn from their rich experiences.
In line with the main theme of Conventus 24, the Marketing Summit's theme this year is AIM, empowering India's global vision through authenticity, innovation, and metrics. Our goal is to discuss how businesses can align with market trends and consumer needs to build a powerful, globally resonant brand identity for India. This theme will focus on four critical aspects. First, building authenticity and trust in brand India. By blending traditional practices with modern technology, India can foster a unique brand identity. This combination will help build trust among local and global stakeholders by balancing innovation with heritage preservation. Second, moving over metrics and embracing social commerce. Marketers need to go beyond conventional metrics like revenue and focus on customer lifetime value and customer acquisition cost. By embracing social commerce, brands can turn loyal customers into advocates, making smarter decisions that foster sustainable growth.
Third, frugal or purpose-driven innovation. India is known for its frugal innovation. However, consumers today demand more purpose-driven approaches. Brands that align with sustainability, inclusiveness, and social equity will make a more meaningful impact. Fourth, strengthening the servicescape. As a service-driven economy, India can leverage its human capital to enhance the consumer experience. Proactively incorporating feedback and engagement into services can help strengthen relationships and build loyalty. Before moving ahead, we would like to play the Marketing Summit theme video.
innovation is a paradox. It's a paradox because it involves creative ideation. At the same time, it's paradoxical and it requires creative destruction.
To share with us their valuable insights on AIM, we are honored to have amongst us 5 industry leaders. We are delighted to have a first panelist, Mr. Vikas Gupta. Mr. Gupta is a marketing professional who relates as much to the narrow back lanes of Azamgarh as a corporate boardroom in Atlanta, USA. He brings over 38 years of experience in consumer marketing and sales across multi-product categories in India and a variety of international markets like USA, Europe, Latin America and Africa at leading consumer product companies such as the Coca-Cola Company, Procter & Gamble and Unilever. Mr. Gupta is the co-founder of 9.9 Group, which through its portfolio of websites, magazines, social media properties, events and research, nurtures and engages with target consumer and professional communities. Previously, Mr. Gupta was the Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer at Coca-Cola India. In this role, he was responsible for driving the equity and growth of the brand portfolio of the Coca-Cola Company in its India and Southwest Asia business unit. During his tenure at the Coca-Cola Company, he also worked at its corporate office in Atlanta, USA as a global director for the brand. Mr. Gupta did his MBA with specialization in marketing and finance from Exeleri Jamshedpur, BSc Honours in Mathematics from Hindu College University of Delhi, and schooling at Delhi Public School, R.K. Puram, New Delhi. We would now request Dr. Neena Sondi to felicitate Mr. Gupta with a welcome gift. So we are honored to have you on the panel and we look forward to gaining valuable insights from you.
We are delighted to have Mr. Sahil Bhushan as our next panelist. Mr. Bhushan currently serves at Kelton as VP and Global Head of Marketing. As a thoroughbred marketeer and a globally awarded marketing professional, Mr. Bhushan has worked across global agencies like McCann, Razorfish, and IT service companies including HCL Technologies and Magic Software in the past. In his current role, he helps to strengthen Kelton's brand through the leading analyst relations, corporate communications, account-based marketing, performance marketing, digital events, and employer brands, amongst other things. His mantra and advice to everyone is work like no one's watching, something that he has lived and abided by since he set foot in the marketing space at the beginning of his career. Mr. Bhushan maintains a disciplined routine by playing badminton 5 days a week, using the sport to stay active and focused. On weekends, he unwinds by spending time with his motorcycle, which helps him clear his head and recharge. We would now request Dr. Sondi to felicitate Mr. Bhushan with a welcome gift. Sir, it's an honor to have you here today. We look forward to hearing from you.
We are delighted to have Ms. Seema Chawla as our next panelist. Ms. Chawla is a seasoned marketing consultant and fractional CMO with over 20 years of experience in brand strategy, growth, and marketing across entertainment, e-commerce, and software as a service. She has held transformative roles, notably as CMO and VP at Agio, where she elevated the brand to a top fashion destination, and at Hotstar International, where she strategically positioned the platform for South Asian audiences abroad. In both established companies like Disney and startups like Loconav and Hike, Ms. Seema has led brands from early stages to market leadership. As a consultant, she has recently launched a virtual design studio for the US, repositioned an Indian agri-data platform for global markets, and contributed to fan engagement for Mumbai Indians with the Mighty Indians superhero franchisee. Renowned for her expertise in brand development, consumer engagement, and fostering collaborative, purpose driven teams. She values authenticity and innovation and is a member of the Global Foresight Advisory Council at the Futures School. We would now request Dr. Sondi to felicitate Ms. Chawla with a welcome gift. Ma'am, we are privileged to have you join us today.
We are delighted to have Ms. Lavika Gupta as our next panelist. Ms. Gupta is a seasoned marketing professional with extensive experience in B2B and B2C segments across India, the Middle East, and APAC regions. She advocates for positioning marketing as a revenue center, strategically focusing on full funnel marketing to engage and nurture audiences. Her approach emphasizes attributing marketing initiatives to measurable business outcome, enhancing both visibility and impact. Currently, Ms. Gupta leads marketing for Microsoft Modern Work Solutions in India, bringing transformative tools to organizations. Her expertise spans managing Microsoft's portfolio in devices, security, and education, where she has crafted consumer journeys recognized across the industry for their scalability and precision. We would now request Dr. Sondi to felicitate Ms. Gupta with a welcome gift. Ma'am, we are grateful to have you here today. We look forward to hearing from you. We are delighted to have Ms. Aradhika Mehta as our next panelist. Ms. Mehta is a seasoned marketer with nearly 2 decades of experience in shaping iconic beauty and fashion brands. From heritage names like Levi's and Nike to innovative startups like Lenskart, she has consistently played a defining role in building brands that resonate with today's discerning consumers. As CMO of the Body Shop's Asia South division, Ms. Mehta transformed the brand's image, strengthening its consumer connection and earning recognition internationally. At Lenskart, her focus on consumer-centric innovation helped establish it as a powerful global brand. Most recently, as the brand head of Tasva, a collaboration between Aditya Birla Group and Tarun Tahiliani, she redefined the men's wedding wear market with a fresh contemporary approach. Within just a year, Tasva gained recognition for its distinctive and modern Indian wear. Now, through her consulting firm, Brand Architects, Ms. Gupta emphasizes the importance of purpose-driven branding. She believes brand must inspire and take clear stances as today's consumers prioritize action over intent. Her expertise spans brand strategy, advertising, communication, and consumer insights, making her a thought leader in creating impactful, consumer-centric brands. We would now request Dr. Sondi to felicitate Ms. Mehta with a welcome gift. Ma'am, we are honored to have you here today. We look forward to hearing from you.
We are honored to introduce Dr. Neena Sondi as the moderator of the Marketing Summit. Professor Sondi is a professor of marketing and currently holds the portfolio of Dean Research and Accreditation at International Management Institute, New Delhi. An alumna and a merit holder from the Faculty of Arts, University of Delhi, she has been trained in the case method of teaching and writing at the Harvard Business School, USA. With the diverse 3 decades of teaching, research, and consultancy experience, she has been felicitated for her academic and professional work by various national and international bodies. Ma'am is recognized for her expertise in consumer behavior and insights, consumer psychology, and market research, which includes both qualitative and quantitative, as well as niche areas such as luxury brand management and marketing for startups. An avid researcher, Professor Sondi has authored more than 50 publications in peer-reviewed journals of repute, 25 case studies with international case clearing houses, 17 of which are available on Harvard Business Publishing, over 100 newspaper and magazine articles, and 3 management books. Her co-authored book, titled Research Methodology, Concepts and Cases, is rated as one of the top 25 books in management education. In her own words, she describes herself as a teacher who never stopped learning and gets her most salient learnings every day from her students. An optimist who believes in magic, miracles, and the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. In her own words, she calls herself as the Nina who loves to natter. We would now request the Marketing Club Secretary, Prashansa Singh, to felicitate Dr. Sondhi with a welcome gift. Ma'am, it's a privilege to have you here today.
Before we formally begin our discussion, we would like to take a few moments to introduce you to an initiative close to our hearts, our 8-year-old baby, Marketing Directions. Marketing Directions magazine was born from the realization that the world of marketing is rich with inspiring campaigns, iconic personalities, and dynamic firms. We envisioned a platform that could bring these insights together, creating a monthly resource that's valuable to marketing scholars, practitioners, and enthusiasts alike. This vision took shape in our magazine, which has grown from an individual effort by the Marketing Club into a thriving collaborative endeavor. What makes Marketing Directions unique is that it's a truly team effort. Every member of the Marketing Club plays a crucial role. We are also incredibly fortunate to have Dr. Nina Sondhi as a part of our team. She is our friend philosopher and guide, and a passion for marketing and mentorship inspires us as we release each volume. Every year, Marketing Direction evolves, bringing something new to its readers. This year, we are thrilled to announce a significant step forward, a physical copy that will serve as a comprehensive archive of our past editions, accessible to all those who share our passion for marketing. Thank you for being a part of our journey as we continue to explore and document the ever-evolving field of marketing. Our team member Shreya Sharma will now present our newly launched Marketing Directions magazine to the esteemed panelists.
With the theme of aim in mind, we will now move into a panel discussion. We look forward to hearing from our esteemed speakers on how India can strengthen its global vision through authenticity, innovation, and metrics. We would now request Dr. Nina Sondhi to take the discussion forward.
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you, Garima and Tanish. That was surely setting the context so comprehensively. So thank you for that. And thank you for inviting me to join my co-panelists who are amazing maestros. Okay, and I learned so much from them in the last half an hour, and I hope we can all learn together from them. So, continuing with the theme of Conventus and marketing, as we plan to reach the 7 trillion club, okay, which is an elite club and the big league, okay, as the management guru Peter F. Drucker said, every plan remains only a good intention unless it has a concrete plan, a course of action. And in his seminal book, Managing for Results, he defines innovation and marketing as the penultimate tools to achieve this goal. And so, ladies and gentlemen, love it or hate it, marketing is the premise of core business action. And it is the one tool which takes a brand narrative to another level by encashing on the brand strengths, encashing on the opportunities available, and driving numbers to achieve this. So to address this issue, okay, we have some critical questions which require an answer. Some of them are, India is known for pioneering frugal innovation, just like our counterpart, our neighbor China is known for counterfeiting, we are known for jugaad, right? So innovation, kuch bhi kaho, is in our blood. But the question is jugaad the right approach to achieve our aspiration of a $7 billion club? Or does it require some kind of metrics so that we can mitigate the innovation risks and achieve higher success? The second question is, when we look at Jugaad, it's amazing, but at the end of the day, it is a shortcut. And in the age of responsible marketing, okay, brands need to have a story which builds on a core of authenticity and trust. So how do we achieve this? That's the question. And lastly, we are enthusiastic, we are wonderful, but we are a large populace. So can we leverage this large populace as our strength? Because we are the service economy. So can we use this to achieve results much better and reach faster to our $7 billion mark? Ladies and gentlemen, tough questions. I don't need my crystal ball today because I have a diverse and a dynamic, interesting panel who may have answer to some of these questions. So without further ado, I will go over to them because they spearhead innovations in their own respective domains and firms. They wear ethics up their sleeves when they do so, and they are able to make magic with numbers. So the right group of people, the right group of experts to answer some of these questions. We have, I guess, almost an hour with us to have this discussion. So we'll do this by, some quick questions that I've penned down for my co-panelists. So let's begin by looking at our core strengths that we can leverage on to achieve our dream goal. Let's begin with our panelist who represents the firm that is modern times, the 20th century leader of innovation, Microsoft. Lavika, when it comes to structured innovation as a philosophy, Microsoft is unparalleled. However, when the tech Buddhas had written off Microsoft as a 20th century phenomenon, fat and happy from its Windows monopoly, you changed the game and made the whole world sit up, okay, by Copilot, by adopting and creating a difference when people were still tottering about how to use generative AI. So my question to you is, as India gears up for taking the leap of faith and moving forward, what lessons can it take from Microsoft's copybook on how to carve its niche as the innovator who's not just Jugaadu, but is a disruptor to be reckoned with? That's my question to you.
All right, thank you so much for the question, and hello everybody. Thank you so much for having me here, and so amazing to be a part of this amazing panel, and all the panel members are great, so I'm looking forward to learning from each of them. Talking about the lessons that we can learn from Microsoft as an organization, I think the journey that the organization has had has been commendable. It has been in the tech, it has been one of the big techs, and today the kind of innovation they have rolled out, it's unparalleled, especially with Gen AI infused technology. Now, if I look back, I've been a part of the organization for about 11 years now in Middle East Africa and now in India, and I've seen the company evolving. So I feel some of the key lessons that we could learn from the organization is, one is constant evolution. There was a point in time when the organization was a little complacent, as ma'am also said, that we had our Windows and Office solutions, and as we ventured into space like cloud platform, we were still known as a Windows and an Office company. A lot of people did not relate to the fact that we are also an Azure or a cloud platform organization. When it came to cloud platform, where there's so much potential for growth, where we are empowering organizations and individuals to do more and accomplish more, we were not seen as a leading player. But I think evolution is the name of the game. And talking about the recent set of evolution, I think it's about having a vision wherein you are able to constantly evolve your technology based on the needs of the market, and at times it's not necessarily the need, but foreseeing where the future is. AI has been around for a long time. In fact, I had one of my marketing events called Scaling AI at Work, organized in Bangalore, where we had one of the co-founders of very esteemed organization, Mindtree. So Mr. Parthasarthi, Sriram Parthasarthi, who was also the CEO and a co-founder of the organization, spoke about them talking about AI way back in the 80s when he was in his college. So AI is not new. It has been there for a while. There has been a fear that it might take up jobs, etc. However, the kind of evolution we have seen with AI right now, with generative AI specifically, I think that's the game changer. All the tech organizations have been in the space for a while. They've had the opportunity, but I think Microsoft was able to envision the future of infusing Gen AI into their solutions, and I think that's where we got the first mover advantage in the space, where we infused generative AI with all our solutions, be it security, be it modern work, and I think that became a game changer. And the way we positioned it, also understanding the mindset or the fear that we have among people that it might take up our jobs, but we say that AI or the AI infused technology is not replacing you, rather it's your co-pilot. It's there to support you. It will elevate you what you do, or save time and make you more productive and be your best self, and enable you to leverage your full potential. I think that's the way to go about it. So constant evolution, understanding the pulse of the market, having a vision, and sometimes there may not be a need. I don't think there was a called out need for Gen AI solutions, but I think that was the vision that our CEO and immense pride that we take in having Satya as our CEO, who has been at the forefront of driving innovation and taking Microsoft to where it is today. So I think just having that vision is super important. Second would be customer centricity. Just understanding what's the pulse of the customer, what is it that they need, what is it that they care about, and curating our products, our experiences according to that, I think is important. At times what brands do is they become very myopic in their approach, wherein they feel it's all about my brand. So if I go out in the market, people might be talking about it, we might spend millions of dollars in great marketing, integrated marketing, and so on, leveraging influencer, social, and whatnot. But at the same time, it's very important to understand what is it that the customers need, what is it that they care about, how are we solving their immediate business needs, what are their pain points, and addressing those with our solutions rather than making it all about Microsoft or a particular technology. So I think customer centricity and curating your products, your strategy, your marketing according to that, I think would be the second one. And I think third is not a lesson from Microsoft, but I think it's more from the Indian organizations like a TechM or Wipro and Infosys, who started small in India, and the way they scaled up to become humongous organizations like they are now. I think it's so commendable. I was part of one of the marketing events that the Microsoft Asia team was organizing for customers across Asia, and while we had Forrester leading the panel, one of the customers that we got in for a case study presentation was Cognizant, and I was so proud of that it's an Indian organization on the global map. And I think there's so much that we could learn from these organizations that start in India, leveraging the potential that this country has, and scaling it up to what these organizations have become. I think a lot of Indian organizations could take a lot of lessons from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Lavika. That was so comprehensive, and so proud that when it comes to evolution, Indian companies are not far behind, and have lessons for the world. So that's amazing. Thank you so much for that. On that note, Sahil, if I come to you next, when I look at Kelton and I look at the list of clients that you have serviced, I see a bunch of Americans, I see Europeans, and very interestingly, Lavika, we also see some Indian companies like Adani, Indigo, and Z. So, and when I track what Kelton does, it helps build superior customer value for its B2B customers by taking an AI-first approach. I figure that your clients are firms that embrace change and innovation as a proactive approach in their business strategy. So my question to you is, what is your analysis about the mindset of these diverse companies across the world as they adopt innovative technology? Do they, as Lavika said, do they, build on traditional practices, and craft or adopt new technology? Do they discard traditional practices and adopt new technology? Or is there a possible blend of the two that works better? What, according to you, has been your experience at Kelton?
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the warm welcome. Big thank you for all the students for having us here. Um, it's been very endearing to be a part of all of these panelists, right? To your question, if I take a couple of steps back, uh, Kelton as an organization in the technology space has been technology agnostic and across the technology gamut, right? Whether it's Microsoft, Google, HCLs of the world, they have their own tech stack to work on. Kelton, when it was kind of conceptualized, the idea was that we'll be technology agnostic. The objective being we'll solve the customer's problem, not really dependent on what technology it is. In fact, Kelton was one of the companies to solve Make My Trip's first mobile app that was developed by Kelton. And at that point in time, people were kind of transitioning from Blackberries to the iPhones and Android phones of the world. So it was that long ago. When Make My Trip approached us, we said that, if this is the problem statement, we'll try to solve it. The technology stack, you leave it on us, right? We'll try to figure out what is our competency. We'll map it to your organization tech stack, and then we'll work towards it. So the approach of our org has been always to be technology agnostic, to embrace all the new technologies that there are. Now, since we are at kind of the pivot point for AI, right? Like Lavika said, AI is an enabler. It's not a replacement for human effort, right? It is something to which what happened in the year 2000-ish, right? When people were transitioning from desktops to laptops, right? It was a big change. People were trying to use it, and there was always on availability and so on. Similarly, when people were transitioning from written stuff to computers, right? That was a big transition that happened in the tech space. So a similar kind of a transition will happen, and AI will take its own course in maturity, right? Right now we are at the stage where everyone is just figuring out the AI game. People are seeing what is working for them, what is not working for them. There are some very strong use cases like a Copilot, like other brands also. And people are riding on top of it. What we are telling our customers is that when you come to us with a problem, we are not going to force fit AI on it. We are very upfront and transparent with them that if AI makes sense, we will try and embed it for you. If it makes sense for your business at that point in time, right? Just because everyone is riding the AI way doesn't mean that you got to ride it as well, right? You will do it when at that point in your organizational journey. So we are very, very transparent in that. The second thing that I would also like to call out is that because I represent the technology industry, and the technology industry by nature is a people business. We provide technology services to our customers. It's not like a product, you go buy a pen, you go buy a shirt, right? That's a product, but we are in the services business, and services relies on people to do that job for them. So our relationship with our customers, some of them that you mentioned, is super, super strong. To the extent that we tell them that if it is your problem, it is in effect our problem. And we don't partner with our clients as vendors, we partner with them as colleagues. So that's the mindset shift that we've brought about in our organization to be able to transverse this AI or any other journey that may come through in the next few years. And from a business point of view, now since the audience is marketing, right? A little incident happened a couple of years ago. I joined Kelton a little over 2 years ago, and during my interview with Kelton, right, I hadn't heard of the firm despite being in the technology industry for a while, right? In my head, that was a checkbox, because if I haven't heard of the firm, that means there is some marketing effort to be done, right? when I went about and talked to a lot of these analysts like Gartner and Everest, these are big, big analysts. Some of you might have heard of these names. I went to them and I shared the Kelton story with them, whatever we've done. They were pleasantly surprised. They said that you've been in the business for the last 15 years. Kelton is a listed firm on the Indian Stock Exchange. We haven't heard of this, how come? So I said that it's our bad, we didn't market it properly, right? And that made me make the decision to join the org. That if this is the state of the marketing function, definitely I got to be in it. And that's the reason why I joined the org, to be a part of that transformative growth journey. So that's a little marketing nugget for the audience there. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sahil. I think what you narrated also reiterates what's Lavika's perspective, that it's about customer centricity. It's not about technology or non-technology. It's about the fact that you are there to solve your customer's problem, whether it's B2B or B2C. If you've got that right, whether with technology or without technology, it works.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that. Let's go across to our next panelist. From fashion to academics, to skincare and fashion, and into architecturing brands. With big daddies like Aditya Birla and Nike and Levi's and disruptors like Lenskart. You're quite the disruptor yourself, Aradhika, I'm sorry. So my question to you is, in these apparently contrasting businesses, across your branding and marketing experiences, which is the one brand narrative that you think was compelling enough to build consumer connect and craft a story that balanced creativity, innovation, and was backed by metrics and numbers? If you can pick up one story from your repository and highlight how the brand achieved it, that'll be wonderful.
Hello. Yeah. So thank you for that question, but I'm not so thankful for the question. I'm sorry. It's great to be here. Absolute privilege and exciting to be amongst students who look as engaged as they do. Marketing happens to be a passion. My number one love, besides food. Yeah, I mean, that's an afterthought. But nonetheless, why I say not so thankful for that question, because it's always difficult to pick a baby, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you have one kid, great. But I've worked in 11 organizations so far. I'm not particularly proud about it, but I'm definitely satisfied, because it's given me a whole lot of experiences, which is what life should be, I think. So on that side note, if I were to pick, I would still pick two. I think my experience of building a brand at the Body Shop, and not just for India, but for Asia Pacific, which is at Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and some work for a few countries that we couldn't finally. I left for Lenskart. I would consider it path-breaking in the sense that the Body Shop happened to be this low decibel marketing sort of. It still does. I mean, of course, right now it's in a grave other sort of conundrum, but it is difficult to market a brand of beauty which specifically says beauty is no specific template, you know, because then I'm giving up the opportunity to say that, okay, this is the template of beauty. Now you want to be like this, you pick this cream. You want hair like that, you pick that hair color. When I say everyone's beautiful, I'm sort of saying, yeah, if you apply a besan haldi, you're beautiful. If you're applying niacinamide, you're beautiful. It's a tough thing for a marketer, you know. It's counterintuitive. And therefore, to build a brand, and especially with the kind of marketing the Body Shop does, which is activism, actually, you know, talking about social things. It is against animal testing. Body Shop does not test any products on animals, and it actively talks about it. So in the journey of building the brand in those 6 years that I was there, and Body Shop happened to be a part of L'Oreal, which is a strange thing because L'Oreal is explicit marketing and L'Oreal is also testing on animals. So it became definitely a task to order while to stand with L'Oreal and to be able to carve a niche differently. So these 3-4 challenges, which is one, to create an idea of a beauty brand which does not necessarily push a stereotype that this is beautiful and this is not and therefore still buy me. 2, to talk about social good rather than a particular cream. So we spoke about animal testing, against animal testing. My biggest campaign was called FAT, F-A-A-T, which is Forever Against Animal Testing. We sent Jacqueline Fernandez, our brand ambassador, to the UN with a charter, signing up the maximum petitions ever in the world that we did for India, with consumers asking to ban animal testing. And she presented our case at the United Nations. It's a huge honor, to be honest, to do campaigns like that, which you knew were going to impact not just lives today, but lives of human beings as well as other beings tomorrow. So I consider that. At Lenskart, I think what we did was, when I joined Lenskart, in fact, it was not a conscious thing, and one always looks back at these things with a lot of fondness. It was a chance encounter with Piyush Bansal. I wasn't there really for an interview for Lenskart, and we started talking, and I think it was almost 3 hours we kept talking, and by the end of it, he was like, can you join? So it was a bit of a, I didn't know Lenskart, by the way. I'd never been to a Lenskart store. And I said, I'm not sure. And then we went, anyway, we had a separate meeting. I joined Lenskart, and the clear mandate was, we've not built a brand here. I need to build brand Lenskart. That was my 1-point charter. I think he is an amazing man. He's got an amazing vision. He thinks so big. Like they say, dream so big that you're frightened, of those dreams. And he's built a brand like that. Today, I don't know how much you're aware, but Lenskart is the biggest eyewear solutions company in the world. The factory that has been built, I think it's almost over, is the largest eyewear manufacturing facility in the world, anywhere. So just to give one example of the kind of innovation we did at Lenskart, and to the point that Lavika was making. Consumers sometimes do not ask for a particular solution. It's for marketing and business to really perceive it. Nobody was asking for glasses in 1 day or 2 days, And consciously we decided that we will deliver glasses in 2 days. The entire team at Lenskart, half of them threw up their hands and said, okay, we can't manage this, no matter what. But it became a challenge that every function decided to play up to, and not that the consumer was asking for it. We started delivering glasses in 1 day or 2 days, and today the entire industry code is changed. So when you have a brand which decides to do or offer a solution which goes beyond just the industry dynamics or the category codes, you change the dynamics of that category itself and of business itself. If a pair of glasses can come to you in 2 days, why can't so many other things? I think it was also sort of a quick comment. So these two are my closest, I think, what we've built, and I say we because it's never one person who builds a brand. It's the entire team, not just the marketing team. It is supported by a whole lot of other people as well. These two brands are are part of my journey, which I think has been extremely fulfilling.
Wow, amazing. A difficult choice, but I think such a perfect, beautifully conceptualized reason why Lenskart, as a brand that you built, from scratch and based completely on innovation and practices which are unique and kind of first mover to the industry.
Just to add one, because it makes it bigger. When I joined Lenskart in 2019, we were 420 odd crores, and the same year we became 1,000 crores. That's the kind of, just to give you a sense of how much one toiled, and the entire team did to really create that amazing number in just 1 year.
Yeah, so building equity is something which is amazing, and Body Shop of course, building synergy between activism and a category which rests on hedonism and yet creates a differentiation is amazing. So on that note, when we talk about brands which are more responsible, which are more authentic, I come to you, Vikas, next. When I view 9.9 Group, a media company that adopts a holistic vision of delivering online and offline customer engagement what stands out for me is the 9.9 grid that defines the 9.9 leader as one who balances commitment to results with genuine concerns for the team they lead. Further, when I look at your career graph from Coca-Cola to Anand Bazar Patrika to 9.9, all firms have established themselves as brands which have credibility. And the consumers trust them in categories which sometimes are not very ethical. So I think you're the right person to help us figure out how to build authenticity and trust in brand India so that we can stand up and say, hey guys, we're not the Jugadus, we're responsible Jugadus.
Thanks, Nina. And thanks all of you for having me here. Being authentic, there are lots of definitions of being authentic, but I like to say it's about being real and being honest is my version of it. And when it comes to how do you build brands using authenticity, I think it starts first with the values of the company. You have very rightly said, I now work in categories which are known for being corrupt, where you can buy an award, call yourself anything, pay some media house and they'll be very happy to give you whatever title you want for yourself, for your company. So the first thing, the reason why, you say that we are credible companies, it comes from the values of the founders. So we have a brand called Digit, for example. It's a tech gadget review site. And we have something called the Digit 01 Awards. So these are awards which are based on very thorough testing of all the gadgets, and then we declare some brands as winners. We have, anytime the 01 Awards comes around, and it usually comes around in December, we have companies lining up willing to pay us tons and tons of money to be declared a 01 Award winner. We also have companies who threaten us that if we don't declare them a 01 Award winner, they will stop advertising with us. We've had Samsung threaten that, and we didn't, and I'm saying this quite openly. We've had Samsung telling us that, and we said, bugger off. They didn't give us any money for the next 3 years, and please note, Samsung is, in the gadget industry, the largest spender. So for a media house to be able to say bugger off to them, and then suffer the consequences takes a lot of guts and takes some very hard commitments to one's value. So the specific answer to your question, it starts with the values of the founder and the marketer. You got to stick to them. You can't have a value system that's open to conditions apply. The minute you have a conditions apply, you don't have values. Right, so that's the first response to that. The second one being about being real. Let me first just ask you guys a question. Can you give me an estimate of how many internet users there are in this country? Just any random number? Anyone? 500 million, that's a very good number. I mean, no one knows the exact number, but that's a pretty close estimate. But have you ever thought of what 500 million means? 500 million internet users in India is more than the entire population of all the continents on this planet other than Asia. Right? 500 million exceeds Australia, Africa, South America, North America, Europe. That's as many internet users there are in this country. Now, when we were looking at Digit and we were trying to grow its traffic, we suddenly realized that Digit, like most other content on the internet other than YouTube and Reels now, is in English. Less than 2% in India speak English, right? You are amongst that 2%. But 98% of Indians are far more comfortable with their vernacular language, right? So, and we were constantly getting told by the marketers of the companies we work with, hey, I need to do something, and we would say, let's do this review in Hindi. No, you can't do it in Hindi. If you do it in Hindi, it projects my brand, pegs it to a lower income segment. Now that's being unreal, that's being not authentic. Because 98% of the users are not comfortable with Hindi. So we then launched Digit in 13 Indian languages, right? Our traffic grew by over 10 times because that was the kind of pent-up demand. There were people out there who were willing to buy gadgets as expensive as any other English-speaking guy, but no one would be giving them content to help satisfy their curiosity about what they were going to buy. So I think if you go back to the point on authenticity and being real, you've got to stop living in your own little ivory tower, and as everyone before me has said, understand where your customer is, what his needs are, what is he or she going to be comfortable with, and then plan your marketing strategy accordingly. All right, thanks.
Thank you so much, Vikas. That was wonderful, because I think you began with core values, which are non-negotiable, that you, kind of build as foundation of your organizations. Customer centricity, you're true to your customers, but not at the cost of your principles. And staying ahead is what makes it work. I think that's pretty amazing, and all our co-panelists till now are talking about customer centricity, use of technology, appropriate use of technology, and core values. I come to you, Seema, next. When I look at your exciting path as your career graph from Disney to Hotstar to Agio to Hike to Loconav, interestingly, if I were to imagine innovation as a human being, I think it would look something like you. So, I find it very interesting, that you've tracked so many diverse organizations. And when all my co-panelists, right, Sahil said, we'll customize, for our consumers where the technology works. But mostly we've been batting for data, for technology. And I come to a post that I saw from, you. And I'll just read
Even
it out.
stalking me.
Yeah, I'm stalking you. So, I was absolutely intrigued by your statement, because you say the best ideas always come from nothingness. There is no data. And you cite the case of Spider-Man, an amazing story which is difficult to beat even today. No data, no numbers, but captures the hearts of everybody. So my question to you is, when everybody speaks of data-driven technology-enabled decisions or curated decisions, okay, can it coexist with free-floating creativity and create aha for its customers and stakeholders?
The short answer is yes, but firstly, thank you for inviting me. It's good to be back after 25 years. The memory
She's your alum.
Yeah, 1999, before most of you were born, so I know it feels like another time. My favorite memory of this room, and I think there are windows behind this, right? Yeah. So that time this room was not air conditioned. That time this room had those, chairs which have the tables on it. And there's a reason I'm telling the story. First marketing management class, year 1, semester 1, Professor J.D. Singh walks in with Philip Kotler. There's a bunch of these pajama-clad. By the way, we were never this well-dressed or well-turned out. We were usually hungover and in our night suits. So, Kangi kardi to bahut badi baat hai. I'm assuming everybody speaks Hindi, sorry about that. I am more comfortable in vernacular, and I think in Hindi and not in English. So we walk into this room and there's a bunch of, Professor J.D. Singh walks in with this book and he says, this is Philip Kotler, it's the Bible of marketing. And there are these sage nods from these 21, 22-year-old, 19, 20-year-olds in the room. He walks up to that window and he throws the book out. And he says, this is India, none of this shit works, we're not homogenous. Everything will need to be different. So to your point, this is where, in this room is where it began, the beginning of that thinking that said you have to be creative for India. You have to think differently. You have to tap into what you know at a deep instinctive level. That's how you were raised. Because marketing is not what you're going to read in that book and what that data is going to tell you. What the data is telling you is human behavior in a tabular form. Sorry, is that my voice? Did I do that? If I just use a different mic? Yeah. Sorry, I did not mean to scare the speakers. Or the speakers. So, yeah, I know, right? Like, it's radical.
It's also commending your 25 years return. I have no idea.
Yeah, but this...
Maybe it wants to clap and it's clapping.
Yeah, so... if I think about your question, right, the greatest ideas do come from nothingness. And if you do watch the video that was underneath, it was actually the Stan Lee talking about how he came up with the idea. So the thing with ideas, the thing with creativity and with innovation is that, and they actually teach this now in parenting. They tell you that it's important to allow a child to get bored. Because that boredom is when the neural networks in your brain build and they fire. So if at one level you look at AI, the greatest challenge is we're trying to get it closer to human thinking and intelligence, but we still don't know how to make those neurons, sort of the neural network work, right? That's the challenge of AI. But if you look at the human brain, and this they say, we have more, I want to say, neurons than stars in the galaxy. Yeah, that's the fact, right? So if that's sitting in your head, those are the neural networks that are forming. You don't know what connection is going to form. And to all the mathematicians and data people, think permutation combination. If you have more neurons in your head that all can do thinking stuff, and which is where ideas come from, and what combination and permutation they're going to work in is greater than the number of stars in the universe, or galaxy, I forget which one. Can you imagine where your ideas are going to come from? They're going to come, you won't actually know where they come from. The problem with data alone, and you need data, because consumer behavior is also data. We don't think about it as data because we love the Excel sheet now, right? I mean, I remember when I used to make presentations, we didn't have computers. We used to have TPs, where this plastic sheet, permanent marker or impermanent marker, and you put it on this thing, and magically it appeared on a wall. It's alien to y'all. I understand that. You have no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, transparent TPs, no? Transparencies. Yeah. So you have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's fine. You should ask Dr. Leena about it. So the thing is, you don't know where that idea is going to come from, right? And therefore, it's imperative that you talk to more people. Because data alone in that Excel sheet is going to tell you the outcome. Data is the outcome. So even at Agio, right, when we would look at an Excel sheet of here is my funnel, here are the number of, I have 1 million sessions in a day, but I'm converting only at 1%. And then my CEO is telling me, why are you spending only 1 crore a day? Why don't you spend more? And I'm like, but we're only selling 60,000 options total. When we run out of the waist 30 and 32 in men's Levi's, pivotal sizes, correct me if I'm wrong, right? 28 to 32 pivotal sizes. The minute we run out of that stock at the 70% off, all that campaign is going to fall, right? Now the data is telling you the campaign is not working. But what you need to do is take a step back and apply brain and ask questions. Now asking those questions is where real innovation comes from, because innovation is about finding answers to questions, right? But if you've crafted your question, then you know where the answer is coming from. So when we looked back and we said, why are campaigns failing, right? We look back and we go back and say, oh, Levi's was selling the most. Okay, now suddenly Levi's is not selling. Has the brand stopped being amazing? No, it's not. We just ran out of sizes. So the customer is dropping off the app, right? So the data can only tell you the outcome, not the input. That's sort of the first thing to think about. And when you think about innovation and creativity, what you want to do, and that's, by the way, the rules of my career have always been, I'll never work for competition. I'll never go from one company that does one thing to another one that does the same thing, because then I know I'm not being hired for what I bring to the table, but for what I know from a competitor. So as a rule, I never join the competition, ever. I never work for industries that are addictive. I will consume gambling, I will consume alcohol and cigarettes, but I will never work for those industries, right? So to that whole point of where do things come from, it's value systems, to his point,
Absolutely.
right? Like, I'll consume, but I will not market, ever. I did market baby food at the beginning of my career, but that too for Nestle, but we'll talk about that another time. I didn't know enough at that point. And I think lastly, the joy of working for a company like Disney, where I've worked with people at Marvel and people at Pixar and people at Lucas and Star Wars and people like Ronnie Screwvala and Sid Roy Kapoor and all those amazing people in the movie business and the TV business. The thing with creativity, and this is actually the culture of Disney and companies like that, comes not from sitting in a meeting room with an Excel sheet and data. It comes from talking about experiences and reading about other people's experiences and letting things, how shall I say, ferment. Ferment, yeah. Yeah, stew is actually external, right? You got to put a gas under it. But ferment, which is leave it in that cellar and let the environment sort of take over, like intrinsic bacteria in it versus external energy source. So ferment and for, let's say, walk off each other on stew. You're absolutely right. So that sort of, and in those conversations will come ideas. I know there were shows that came out of that. I've stood in corridors and had conversation with creative people and said, this sounds interesting. I don't know how many of you remember, you were all my target audience when I used to work for Disney. I don't know how many of you will remember My School Rocks by High School Musical if they ever came to your school. I see nodding heads. Excellent. That was my baby. And the way it came about was I was standing in a corridor and I was talking to someone and said, yaar, पैसे बनाने इस महीने we are running out of number नहीं हो रहा है, we're not getting there. And we're like, there's this new movie that's coming, High School Musical. Marketing doesn't want to do anything with it. Nice to work as marketing and sales in those days. So I said, okay, great. Let's launch this thing called My School Rocks, an inter-school dance competition. And we'll run with it. And I was talking to my boss and I said, roughly it'll cost so much, I'm running with it. He said, you see, if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it's all gone, right? Just ideas out of nothingness. Nobody sat down, looked at any data, did anything. It just came from, I used to enjoy inter-school dance competitions as a kid, we'll see. And then you go in there. And then, of course, you let the data come in, right? Then you look at the numbers, you look at how much things are going to cost, you do budgeting, you do all of that, you talk to your colleagues. But the principal part of innovation is just allowing your mind to run free. That is my long answer.
Thank you so much, Seema. That was wonderful. So at the close of our round, we've looked at how we achieve authenticity and trust in brand India, move up from a jugaad as innovation, use data and sometimes not use data, ideate, interpret is what Seema tells you. If you've got it right, what's going to happen is the customer is yours, okay, hopefully, because you've driven something which was core to your integrity and values is what Vikas spoke about. Our next round is going to be a quick round. I'm just going to make a statement and I need one single sentence answer from each one of you, and then we go to what we discussed, the celebrity round, which is the rapid fire. So we'll do a quick rapid fire, but before that, I want a single one sentence answer from each one of you. No longer answers, Seema. So to give you a context, my question is, in always under a social media spotlight world, I become paranoid. So I switch off Alexa, I sign off from my social media accounts, I keep the phone in another room, and then I start discussing my wants and desires because I am scared of this voyeur who's always, behind me. So, but, and this nudges me because people are going to send me reels, they're going to send me, pop-ups. I'm going to have so many people bombarding me with what I should buy and what I should endorse. And yet, paradoxically, when I go to Spotify, I go to Netflix, even Sephora, I want a curated Meri Wali list. So my question to you, okay, co-panelists, is as a company, as a marketing executive, as a corporate professional, how can companies create, and I think Seema, you led the, so I'll let the others begin on that. How do they cleverly blend metrics and man or people to deliver value to this contrarian customer? Because he's seeking privacy and yet he's seeking personalization. So how can you blend people or your human resource, okay, with data to deliver value? Shall we start with you, Aradhika?
One line answer, one sentence answers. I think, and with less time to think about it, but I say any kind of personalization that makes the customer feel special is what we're looking at. Personalization that is tokenism will not work. Like we say, like I say to my teams in marketing, वही personalization करना है जो दिल जीत ले. That's it.
Perfect. Lavika, you have to top that.
As Aradhika said, less time to think. But again, it should be by opt-in. Hyper-personalization, of course, is the way to differentiate and distinguish yourself and break free from the clutter. But I don't know if a lot of people here, and I think most of the marketers would know about the DPDPA, which is the Digital Personal Data Protection Act.
Correct.
So it has to be by opt-ins only. So I think personalization is important, but again, I think companies should stick to opt-in policy, and they should follow DPDPA very strictly.
That's responsible. Thank you. Seema?
Answer, ethics.
Wow.
That's it. That's the only answer.
Absolutely.
I don't even have a sentence.
Sahil?
I beat the brief.
Yeah, I think to your question, right? Every brand has its own set of values, own set of differentiation, and all of that, right? In engaging with customers, what brands generally tend to forget is they try to woo the customers in so many ways that they forget who they are, right? So I think an answer to you is just be honest. The brand has to be honest in believing what they are, whether it's a 5 rupee product that they offer or whether it's $1 million car that they sell, right? If they're honest to their brand, their customers will follow, and hyper personalization or customer base creation will be kind of automated.
I think there is unity in thought. Vikas?
I'll just add to what Seema said. It's ethics and perspective. So hyper personalization done in order to make the customer's life better rather than plug more products at him or her.
Thank you. That's responsible. So guys, this is the rapid fire coffee with Nina. So I come to you, Lavika, first, because we began with you. It's about the 3 I's. Intellect or knowledge, intuition or gut feel and market sense, interpretation, number-driven decisions. For a young graduate seeking to break ground as a marketeer, rank them in order of priority. How to become a Lavika tomorrow. Intellect, intuition, interpretation.
I don't think, all these eminent students here should be aspiring to be like either of us. Of course, they can seek inspiration, but they're just so unique in their own ways. So carve out your own niche. If I have to rate the 3, it's, I would say intuition first, because I think personally, professionally, I try to apply that, not that I'm very good at it, but intuition, followed by
Intellect and interpretation.
Intellect and interpretation.
Okay,
Thank you.
intuition, intellect and interpretation. I think it goes logically and sequentially. Wonderful. Aradhika, as a branding expert, what advice do you have for a brand to stay ahead of the curve? You have to choose between, it's not about Alia Bhatt and about Deepika Padukone, it's about constancy or change, passion or purpose, simplicity or sensationalism. A brand, what is the advice you give to a brand to stay ahead? Constancy or change, simplicity or sensationalism, purpose or passion?
I think it'll always be a blend. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's no black, there's no white, there is only gray. And therefore, what is important is the lens, the context that you're applying it in. Change works if the context demands it or requires it. Constancy works when the context requires it. So, to your question, whatever the contrasting paradigms may be, it's your lens, and make your lens so powerful, so robust that you take the right decision at the right time. And to, like what she said, your intuition, if it's as good, of course, driven by your insights through formal and informal research, you'll always take the right decision. There are no absolutes. Everything is relative in life.
Thanks. Sahil, I see a lot of diversity. I won't talk about all of them, from sports to cars to bikes to technology to Ikigai. You're very intriguing. I pick up a quote from one of your talks, and I quote, "It is important to be the ZCMO to garner mind share and hence revenue share." Please enlighten our young scholars as to what are the 3 critical traits that an aspiring marketing professional must have to become a ZCMO. I guess you'll have to first tell them, what's a ZCMO?
So a ZCMO is basically CMO of the era, right? A CMO 20 years ago would have a different problem statement than a CMO now, than a CMO 20 years hence, right? So it's the real problem statement that is happening right now. And right now we are in the age of social media, right? And one thing, if you take a step back, has happened is that in this day and age, the marketeer has lost the control of the narrative. It used to happen 20 years ago when you created a TVC, you created a print ad, shove it in the face of the customer 3 times a day in the television, and you're done, right? Not anymore. You don't know which channel am I on versus you are on, right? So that's why I say the marketeer of today has lost that control. The control has shifted to the consumer. So that is why, to adapt now when you start your career journey, what I feel is couple of things, right? I don't know if there are 3 or more. Sure. One of the things that I truly believe is find your calling, whatever you start with. Lot of people, when they start careers, and a lot of us have made those mistakes. My colleagues, people who I know of, that they start because of big brands giving them that opportunity, or because of higher salaries, right? And so many other reasons. If your calling is otherwise, please do explore that, because now is the time to actually do the pivot, rather than 10 years hence when you realize, okay, I'm making decent money, but I'm not really happy with what I'm doing, right? Money will be a byproduct. Second is, marketing as a function is what I believe is really, really powerful. And you ask this from a panel of marketeers, when you ask this to a CEO or a CTO, they will, and I'm sure all the panelists would agree, they would view marketing as a cost function, right? But marketing is just a lot more than just a cost function, right? It drives a purpose. It drives the purpose of the brand to market. And there are many, many big brands that have been built solely on marketing, right? Red Bull, for example, right? It stands for just one thing. It stands for adventure, craziness, adrenaline rush. It's built solely on marketing. So marketing can build or destroy a brand also. So I leave it at that. And yeah.
Thank you, Sahil. Vikas, for a budding marketer like the ones you see in front of you, in a world of generative AI, where several marketing roles may get abolished, what are marketing roles that will remain relevant in the future? And what are 2 marketing or management skills you would tell the scholars are critical for realizing those roles?
I'll mention 3 skills. First is you've got to be disproportionately inquisitive, right? You need to be constantly say, why does something happen the way it happens? Very closely related to that, you got to be a tremendous unbiased listener. And listening is not just voice, listening is also observing. If you are not a good listener, you will never be a good marketer, right? And the third is to be crazy about making stuff happen, right? Irrational level of passion to make stuff happen based on what you have observed and listened. Because if you want to be a marketer, just drop work-life balance out of the window when you step out in the into workforce, okay? If you're not willing to work 24/7, 365 like a nutcase, then marketing is not for you. All right? So it doesn't matter whether it's generative AI or whatever other tool. If you have these 3 skills, you will be an outstanding marketer. My promise to you, my guarantee.
I want to clap to that. Yeah,
Thank you, Vikas. That was so pointed and, absolutely on the nail. I come to you, Seema, last. Based on your corporate experience, right? This is for companies, not our scholars. I look at 3 things. Customized offerings, consistent offerings in terms of quality, or cohesion in offerings. That is what Aradhika did at Body Shop, right? Which one do you think is more core to an organization which professes to be customer-centric? Customized offering, consistent offering in terms of quality promise, or commonality or cohesion in offering, where it's something for me, something for you, and something for them.
It depends.
Yeah.
Mics hate me.
Mics hate me. Welcome from media, man.
Oh yeah, I think the mic is just jealous I'm from media. I'm destroying
the
the
spotlight, Seema.
shocking. Sorry. So coming back. So here's my take on it from an organization's perspective, right? Let's look at a company like Disney. Disney needed to do customized, I want to say, to some extent, based on taste of the consumer. Because there, when you look at that lovely pyramid that we have, Disney doesn't make toothpaste that gives you fresh breath, white teeth. Nothing that Disney makes will give you any rational benefit. It's all, solely in the emotional state. So there we would talk about, storytelling, quality, innovation, optimism, decency, community, which is essentially, Disney's positioning statement, which is Disney is storytelling with special, sorry, what was it? No, Disney is, oh my God, why is my brain freezing? Perimenopause, I apologize. Coming back. So there you had to customize depending on what kind of audience you were in. So if you're talking to children who love pink flouncy things, you're customizing with Disney Princess. You're talking to children who like fast cars, and there's a reason I don't say boys and girls anymore, because, it can blend. You're doing, Cars and Toy Story and things like that. So you are customized, but you also need to be cohesive, because the same brand needs to deliver on optimism, storytelling, quality, innovation, optimism, decency, community. Because if you are not delivering on that promise consistently, the same audience that has been with that 100-year-old company will let go. In fact, that's what's happening today to Disney, right? Share price is tanking, they're still not as relevant because they jumped on a bandwagon called streaming without really thinking about what that means for that asset base. So for an organization, on the other hand, let's look at Reliance, who I used to work for, and I happened to be at Reliance when Jio was launched. And the reason Ajio is called Ajio is because the mandate was, we want the word Jio in it, because Jio is going to be the telecom brand, but we don't know what else to call it, so we just put a vowel we put a vowel that sounded best with Ajio, and that's how the name was born. So when people used to ask me, I used to say, oh, A for apparel, or A because it's the first Geo brand that's going to come out of, I used to say that in rooms, but the god awful truth is it's the only vowel that sounded best because Ujio wasn't working, right? So, to your point on ideas from nothing else. So, with Agio, it was very interesting because as an organization, Reliance believes that one is as an organization very focused on, they actually truly believe and want to do better for the Indian consumer.
Seema, this is rapid fire.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I forgot. Hey, you gave him a long answer. Okay, so short answer is, and can I tell you the story of why Jio was free?
Absolutely.
Okay. And therefore the Agio story. So the logic of Agio was we were going to launch telecom and we wanted to sell apparel and therefore other things digitally to that consumer base, and that was the thesis behind Agio, not let's spend a lot of money in marketing and only give discounts. The goal was to be on the Geo app and sort of funnel that whole base. And interestingly, MDA sat down, and MDA is what they call Mr. Ambani, Mukesh Ambani. At Reliance, if you're not in initials, then you're nobody. So if you're called by your initials, you're somebody, otherwise you're nobody. If they call you by your name, you're nobody. So MDA sat in a room with his greatest advisors and said, what is it that the consumer values the most? And at that point, the answer in the room was voice. And he said, okay, let's make that free. That's it. That was the decision. So to your point, consistency, cohesiveness, no, customer centricity is just about knowing what the customer wants and giving it to them.
Perfect. Thank you for that closing line. I think that's wonderful because if we look at the discussion, we're just on time. We looked at marketing, which requires a core set of ethics and values without which it doesn't work. Innovation is the key, but customer centricity, as all of you emphasized, is the mantra which will be able to get us to that 7 billion or 7 trillion club. Personalization, respecting customer privacy, and marketeers who listen with their ear to the ground and implement what they've listened to is going to be the key to achieving what we dream as our achievable goal by 2030. And marketeers are the ones, all you guys sitting here and my dear co-panelists are the ones who are going to help us achieve it. So some thoughts, I hope they were of value. It was great listening to everybody and coming up with some perspectives which were interesting and some which were diverse and intriguing, worth thinking about. Thank you so much. It was wonderful having all of you.
A word of thanks from the panelists for Neena ma'am. I think the most amazing questions. I'm being very honest. Very well, deep done research on each one of us. I think I'm most impressed.
Sorry for being
by
a snoop.
That's all right. I think everybody's snooping either way. At least you're explicitly accepting it, So yeah, thank you for that, because it does feel very good when you have a nuanced question coming to you rather than some of those generic ones. So thank you on all anyway for such an engaged, quiet audience. It's remarkable. Thank you.
I'm happy to answer questions outside for a while if anyone has any.
Lots of them. What were you doing with questions?
So we've kind of saved on time with smart marketers. So there are questions. Okay, and why don't you talk about it?
Thank you to all our panelists for such an enlightening discussion. We'll now move into the Q&A session. We have gathered questions from the audience, and the first question is directed to Ms. Aradhika Mehta. As you mentioned about the campaign FAT that basically voiced concerns against animal testing, what would be your recommendations to the developing brands regarding coming up with such initiatives, provided they stay relevant to the brand's context and also keep in mind that we are moving beyond metrics, that is, beyond numbers?
Whose question is this?
I'm not very sure if I've understood the question. If I have, you are saying that beyond metrics, what do I look at? Are you asking that? Whose question is it?
I would like Janvi Arora to raise her hand.
Janvi is there? Can you stand up? Yeah, please. Yes. What exactly are you asking? I'm sorry, I've not been able to really comprehend that.
Ma'am, I was asking, like, since we are talking about moving beyond numbers, beyond the numerical metrics, and we need to, like, come up with some social initiatives.
I think I got your answer. I'll give you an example and I'll illustrate whatever I want to say with that example. Today, hair color. L'Oreal is the leading brand, the market leader in hair color. You're all aware of that. At one point of time, of course, it also had certain chemicals which have a whole lot of harmful effects. And women being 90% of the users at one point of time, the whole world had ammonia-free color. India continued to have ammonia color for almost 10 years before actually there was a whole lot of action. So we've always been treated poorly. Let me just say that, now that I don't work for them, so I can say that here. And it's not about, a decision of the market here. It's a decision of the business. If the whole world deserves to get an ammonia-free color, India did too. But anyway, if you were to look at the metrics, yeah, they would say, the hair color is number 1, it's doing amazingly well. Why would you want to stop it? So here's a diverse point of view. You know, the world over, it is known, and if you will search, one of the dirtiest chemicals or other cosmetics is hair color. It has endocrine disruptors. There are a whole lot of women who go through depression, anxiety, lowness because of hair color without ever knowing what is causing it. And even today, a whole lot of women use hair color. Those chemicals exist. The beauty companies have not removed. We in India have a hair color, a natural hair color with us. Anybody? Henna, Mehendi. You know, there's a Brazilian brand which does amazing numbers. It's called Surya, and it says Surya Brazil. It says hair color, which is basically henna and indigo. So this is the natural thing that Indians knew through decades and donkey years, which is if you combine henna, mehendi, with indigo, you get black. I think it was chemistry. And we, like fools, have been using hair color, which is causing all of these things. So if I were to continue to look at data, I would definitely say, yeah, continue using artificial hair color. But if I were to use my natural intelligence, not artificial intelligence also, AI, I would know, here's where the answer lies. It's sustainable, it's healthy, it's cheaper. I mean, what's not to win here? So it's not always data. It's basic natural intelligence. And this is my favorite line, in the race for AI, let's not be naturally stupid at least.
That perspective adds a lot of value. Thank you for sharing, ma'am.
One last question.
The next question is directed to Mr. Vikas Gupta. So the question is, what are some risks associated with Jugaad marketing, and how have you managed risk while innovating any marketing strategy?
The biggest risk with Jugaad is falling in love with your idea. That's the big problem we have, right? A Jugaad is meant to solve a problem in the short term. But don't fall in love with that idea and assume that it will be a sustainable one, right? So you've got to find the proper solution, the one that can be sustained over time. That's the biggest risk with Jugaad. What was the second part of that question?
How did you manage?
So I think I've answered how we manage risk. Yes, of course, I think we should be proud of our Jugaad mentality, but don't make that virtue into a problem by thinking that's the only way to do it.
When the West does it, and they call it hacking, and I use my accent for that, they call it hacking, it's considered cool, but Jugaad is not, because it's a Desi word. Is that, yeah, happy to hack.
I would say, It's been 6 years since I used a commercial shampoo
Wow.
or a commercial hair color.
Wow.
The day I came
And she
to know
sells
how
Body
dirty
Shop.
it was, I told them themselves, yes. I mean, at the
It's all
Body
good.
Shop, by the way, is clean, so therefore I was still selling it, not
Huh.
L'Oreal.
Huh. ठीक है.
And I have examples.
With you.
Due to paucity of time, we are unable to accommodate more questions. If participants have additional questions for the panelists, please share them with us afterwards and we'll forward them to the speakers. Responses will be posted on our social media channels. This concludes our Q&A session. Neena ma'am opened the discussion by highlighting how innovation and marketing are pivotal for India's growth journey, questioning whether our reliance on Jugaad will truly support the $7 trillion ambition. Instead, she emphasized a customer-centric approach that prioritizes lasting impact over shortcuts. Mr. Vikas shared that authenticity and trust building are key to growth. By providing content in regional languages, his team fostered genuine connections across diverse audiences, underscoring how values and customer centricity drive success. Mr. Sahil explained how his team remains technologically agnostic, prioritizing customer needs over specific solutions. He views AI as an emerging tool that complements human effort rather than replacing it, keeping the focus on solving real problems.
Ms. Seema Chawla emphasized that data must work alongside creativity. While data reveals outcomes, she reminded us that genuine insights come from asking the right questions and engaging with people, highlighting the essential human aspect of marketing. Ms. Lavika discussed structured innovation exemplified in her team's launch of Copilot as a philosophy that not only addresses current needs but also anticipates future demands, fostering a proactive, forward-looking vision. Ms. Aradhika shared her experience building purpose-driven brands at the Body Shop and Lenskart, where anticipating consumer needs was central. She emphasized how a brand's role includes not just meeting demands, but identifying solutions consumers might not even know they need, creating a lasting impact.
The profound insights shared by our panelists have offered us a fresh and enriching perspective.
On behalf of the entire Conventus 2024 team, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished speakers, Mr. Vikas Gupta, Mr. Sahil Bhushan, Ms. Seema Chawla, Ms. Lavika Gupta, and Ms. Aradhika Mehta, for taking out time from their busy schedules and sharing their thought-provoking insights with all of us. Your insights have provided us with invaluable knowledge and on how to navigate the future of marketing. We would like to take this opportunity to once again thank our moderator, Dr. Neena Sondhi, for consenting to be the moderator for the session and for making the session a highly interactive and enriching learning experience.
We would now request Dr. Neena Sondhi to felicitate Mr. Gupta with a memento. We would now request Dr. Neena Sondhi to felicitate Mr. Bhushan with a memento. We would now request Dr. Sondhi to felicitate Ms. Chawla with a memento. We would now request Dr. Sondhi to felicitate Ms. Gupta with a memento. We would now request Dr. Sondi to felicitate Ms. Mehta with a memento. We are honored to announce our esteemed partners and sponsors for Conventus 24 at IMI New Delhi. Their support and collaboration has been instrumental in making this event a resounding success. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to our title sponsor NHPC, co-sponsor RPSG Group, Sustainable Hydration Partner PIAU, Sports Partner Abros Shoes, Event Partner AdSat Engineers Private Limited, and valued sponsor Havish M Consulting. Ladies and gentlemen, with this we conclude the Marketing Summit. We are certain that this session has been very enlightening for each one of us present here. We would like to take this opportunity to commend all the guests, participants, speakers, professors, students, and the staff of IMI for making this session an unparalleled success, as well as the media persons for the online coverage of the event. We would also like to ask Prashansa Singh, Marketing Club Secretary, to felicitate Dr. Neena Sondi with a memento.
We warmly invite our esteemed panelists to join us for a group photograph. We would be delighted to have members of the organizing committee and student council join as well.
A round of applause for the organizers.
Stage से लो, कब सब आएंगे?